In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest Bitcoin technical analysis, and according to Willy Woo, we'll probably never see Bitcoin going below 30,000 again if this on-chain pattern holds true. In breaking news just in, the Binance CEO CZ pled guilty to money laundering. Binance will have to pay $4.3 billion in fines. According to the Wall Street Journal, not only that, but he has officially resigned as the CEO. Also, this just in, the court unseals the indictments against Binance and CZ. I'll be detailing this for you in today's show. We'll also be discussing more breaking news coming from Kraken and their lawsuit against the SEC as Deaton slams the dishonorable Gary Gensler. Also in today's show, I'll be sharing a catalyst which can trigger the Bitcoin price action to explode to the six-figure mark, according to the Strike CEO, Jack Mallers. Also in today's show, Bitcoin will reach $150,000 per coin by this particular date, according to asset management firm Bernstein. I'm also going to be sharing the latest with the high priest of Bitcoin, Max Keiser. He was just recently on InfoWars, and he shares that 3 nations in Latin America are to make Bitcoin legal tender in early 2024. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more in today's show. If you're new to the channel, be sure to smash the subscribe button to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day like this, and also get an on-screen shout out by yours truly. Also be sure to smash the like button as it helps out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. The goal is to get this channel to 100,000 subs. We're long overdue. We're currently sitting at maybe above 60. So let's make it happen. I appreciate it. But without further ado, let's dive into our market watch as we do each and every day. This is podcast episode number 1468 of the Crypto News Alerts pod. Today is November 21st, 2023. And checking out the market right here, you should be able to see this on your screen. Everything started dumping after the news of CZ resigning from Binance, along with this $4.3 billion fine. We got Bitcoin that pulled back to 37,000. We have Ether trading back under 2,000. BNB down 7%. We have XRP down 4% and Solana down 5%. They say when in doubt, just zoom out. So let's look on the monthly. Bitcoin still killing it, up 23%. Ethereum up 22%. Solana up 86%. Even BNB is still up 12%, even off the back of all of this crazy news for the past month. And XRP is up 14%, along with Cardano up almost 43%. And checking out coinmarketcap.com, the current market cap is back on the decline at $1.38 trillion, with roughly 60 billion in volume in the past 24 hours, with the Bitcoin dominance on the rise at 52.1% and the Ether dominance at 17.1%. And checking out the top gainers within the top 100, surprising enough, FTT leading the pack, the scam token created by Scam Bankman-Fried himself, trading at $3.73. So it goes to show you there's a lot of degens in this crypto space. We got OKB barely in the green, up 1.4%, and Tether Gold barely in the green, just up 1%, meaning the majority of the major cryptos are currently correcting and in the red. And checking out Crypto Bubbles, this gives us a broader perspective visual. You can see virtually every major token in the red, minus FTT pumping, go figure. And zooming out for the weekly, we can see it's a mixed bag, some in the green, some in the red. And zooming out on the monthly, the majority of the cryptos are in the green and pumping. And of course, for the year, most of the cryptos are also crushing it as well, alongside Bitcoin up over 100% on the year. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, we're currently rated a 71 in greed, yesterday a 69, as well as last week a 69, and last month a 53, which is neutral. So there you have it, my crypto fam. How many of you are currently bullish on the King Crypto? Let me know in that live chat. So much breaking news to share with you. Let's kick it off with our Bitcoin technical analysis. Check out the charts where the price action is likely to go next, and then we'll dive right into the latest breaking news with CZ and Binance versus the Department of Justice. Here we go. Bitcoin bought on exchanges every year since 2017 is now on average in profit. So congratulations to all my Bitcoin hodlers. Complied by on-chain analytics firm Glassnode, exchange withdrawal figures confirm that at 37,000. A user's purchase is on aggregate in the black. Now, Bitcoin returned to multiple investor cohorts to profit when it retook 30,000 last month, but the current prices are having an impact on Bitcoin buyers who entered much earlier. According to Glassnode, which monitors the aggregate price at which coins left exchange wallets each year since 2017, 34.7 is the magic number for turning a profit on investment. To put it another way, anyone who withdrew Bitcoin from a major exchange since January 1st of 2017 is up in dollar terms compared to the year of withdrawal. This includes those who purchased during Bitcoin's last bull run, during which Bitcoin hit the all-time high. I believe that was on November 10th of 2021 at 69,000. The last time the Bitcoin traded above all the post-2017 cost basis lines were at the end of 2021. Quoting Checkmate here from Glassnode, the average withdrawal price for Bitcoin investors across all yearly classes are now in profit. This model can be considered the dollar cost average cost basis for the average investor who started accumulating from January 1st of each year. Class of 2021 has the highest entry price at $34,700. Now let's discuss the new realized price. Records flow in. The exchange withdrawal realized price adds another key line in the sand to the current Bitcoin price range. As reported, $39,000 is also an important profitability mark, this reflecting the price at which the 2021 bull market buyers on aggregate returned to profit. Now that level also forms the lower bound of popular analysts' credible cryptos pre-halving Bitcoin price target range. This bounded to the upside by $50,000. The halving is due next April, roughly 5 months out. How many of you are pretty stoked for the Bitcoin halving in 2024? Let me know in that chat. Now, meanwhile, James Van Straten, research and data analyst from Crypto Slate, this week revealed a new all-time high for the total Bitcoin realized price, the complete acquisition costs of the Bitcoin supply. Now, the short-term hodler coins, which refer to the portion of the supply beyond the exchanges, which has moved in the past 155 days, have also now a higher acquisition cost than ever before. So the total realized price and the short-term hodler realized price now stands at approximately $10,000 apart at around $20,900 and $30,400 respectively. Quoting the analyst here, this ascension emphasizes an increased probability of these coins being spent on a given day and signifies the influx of new investors, with a remarkable 3% surge being the highest since May of 2023. And quoting on-chain analyst Willy Woo, shout out Willy Woo, we'll probably never see Bitcoin going below $30,000 ever again. If this on-chain pattern holds true, 8 for 8 thus far. Interesting. What you see here is Bitcoin's price discovery across 13 years. It's a contour map, the Bitcoin supply according to the price hodlers paid for their coins and how it changed over time. Let's go. He says dense horizontal bands. These are the price regions where much of the supply moved between investors reflecting strong agreed value. And for the pattern, whenever Bitcoin had A, strong bands of agreed price, B, coming out of the bear market, and C, leading into the next halving, the price never comes back to retest this band of support. Here's the context. Why up only? Bitcoin is far from a commodity market at saturation. What we're seeing across the 13 years of this chart is Bitcoin's widespread adoption. The network had 10,000 users in 2010. Today, there's well over 300 million people using it as a store of value technology. This is only going to climb with the spot ETF. So there you have it, fam. And in this chart, it shows you the Bitcoin cost basis, density map, and can you see the clear pattern? You already know. So how many of you are currently bullish on the King crypto? Let me know. And how many of you agree with Willy Woo that we'll never see a sub $30,000 price action ever again? Let me know, fam. Yesterday was big news. Javier Milei winning the presidency in Argentina. So much bullishness in the market. Now, is this all by intelligent design? Department of Justice, $4.3 billion fine going after Binance, going after Kraken. Why they always got to rain on our parades when we're pumping? What is going on? Let's discuss it. This is breaking news just in. Here's the latest with CZ and the guilty plea. Let's break this mofo down, shall we? Starting right here, quoting CoffeeZilla, Binance CEO pled guilty to money laundering. Binance will pay $4.3 billion in fines per the Wall Street Journal. We're going to break down. This is the news story that just came in. I haven't even had a chance to scroll down and look at it. But first, let's start here with the breaking news of CZ pleading guilty, and then we'll discuss the indictments and all the latest info info that just came in from the DOJ. Here we go. CZ had reportedly agreed to step down as the CEO of his crypto exchange as the U.S. Department of Justice prepares to announce that it had secured a $4.3 billion settlement with the company, which means he probably is not going to face any jail time. Plea bargain means I'm going to give you all this money and you're going to give me what I want in return, which would be to stay out of jail, right? And to resign as the CEO of the company. So according to the Wall Street Journal, CZ intends to plead guilty to several charges levied by the Department of Justice. He is scheduled to appear in a federal court in Seattle today, November 21st. Well, he's going to enter his plea, the Journal said. The report also indicates he'll plead guilty to a criminal charge related to violating anti-money laundering statutes. Clearly, he don't want to end up like Sam Bankman-Fried, right? Now, although the deal would allow CZ to retain his majority stake in Binance, indicating he likely won't face jail time as part of the plea bargain, he won't be allowed to hold an executive position at the company. The Wall Street Journal reported that the plea deal won't affect the pending litigation with the US SEC, as it does not include a settlement for the case it brought against Binance back in June. So there will be additional money to be paid out. However, the Department of Justice settlement will resolve the company's issue with the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, as the reported $4.3 billion in settlements includes funds that will be applied to the CFTC's case and outstanding claims against the firm from the US Treasury Department. Crypto social had exploded with activity on the back of this news. Former pharmaceutical mogul and self-titled pharma bro Martin Shkreli, who served 4 years on a 7-year sentence on fraud charges, weighed in on a seemingly joke that he'd put in a good word for CZ, although it's unlikely the former Binance CEO faces jail time as part of the plea deal. As you can see here, Martin Shkreli, here you go again, CZ, jail, ain't so bad. I'll put in a good word, Flacco and them. It's kind of like deja vu all over again with Bankman-Fried. And here's the latest story. This just actually came in right before I hit the live button. The federal court released the indictments against Binance and CEO CZ, filed under seal on November 14th, in which the U.S. government said it expected the crypto exchange and CZ to enter the guilty pleas. In the November 14th filings in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Washington at Seattle, the U.S. government said it requested to file the indictments against Binance and CZ under seal, as any potential plea deals with the exchange and CEO, as well as regulatory settlements, were likely to have a major effect on the company. It is customers as well as the global crypto markets which are experiencing that right now. Now, authorities charged CZ with 1 felony count for failure to maintain an effective anti-money laundering program at Binance, violating the Bank Secrecy Act. Quoting them here. On the day of the plea hearings, the government anticipates that the criminal resolutions with defendant CZ and defendant Binance will be announced simultaneously with significant civil resolutions by the Department of Justice, Office of Foreign Asset Control, the U.S. Department of Treasury Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, which is FinCEN, and the CFTC, according to the filing on the 14th. They also state, while Binance is not a publicly traded company, Binance is the largest crypto exchange in the world, and news related to CZ and Binance's criminal and civil liability is likely to have a significant effect on the trading of various cryptocurrencies, which we're seeing in the markets right now. They also say that crypto markets are volatile, subject to significant swings based on external events. Now, here, given the status that Binance and CZ have amongst participants in the crypto and related markets, even the simple docketing of a federal criminal case against either would be itself have a significant market impact. Now, the government compared the potential volatility and the price of Binance coin, which is BNB, to that of FTT token. And again, FTT is a top gainer on the day as Binance is experiencing this. Is that a coincidence, fam? Let me know your thoughts. Now, the former CEO Sam Bankman-Fried, as we know, was indicted on several fraud charges. SBF was subsequently found guilty on 7 charges and currently awaits sentencing in March of this year. And according to the court records, lawyers representing Binance and CZ appeared in court for separate hearings scheduled on the morning of November 21st to discuss pleas and possible detention. Attorneys for CZ filed sealed motions concerning the Binance CEO's conditional release pending sentencing of the case, but the contents were not available at this time. A settlement for many of the criminal and civil cases against Binance and CZ in the U.S. is expected to be announced at 8 p.m. Eastern here today. Well, I don't know if it's Eastern, but it says 8 p.m. UTC. Now, also, they're going to have to pay a $4.3 billion settlement. Good Lord, making it the 7th largest settlement in history of settlements, and it's currently unclear at this time if any part of the announcement will concern Binance's pending civil case with the US SEC, which has been ongoing. In June, the regulator filed 13 charges against the crypto exchange, Binance US and CZ, for security law violations. So there you have it. Now for another take. Did BlackRock take down Binance? This is a post that Altcoin Daily shared. There was an original tweet here by Travis Kling, dated back to June 16th earlier in this year. Here's what he wrote. Lots of chatter on this BlackRock Bitcoin ETF, and rightfully so. BlackRock more or less is BlackRock is more or less is the US government. They've also received an approval on 575 out of 576 ETF applications. The thing I'll say, there is no chance, and I mean zero, that this ETF is approved with Binance in the current position of market dominance. If this ETF is approved, Binance is either gone entirely or their role in price discovery is massively diminished. If Binance holds on to the current level of influence, there is no chance this ETF is approved. Well, there you frickin' have it. Now, here's some feedback on some of this, the content here in the thread. Why is this a surprise? When the big boys are ready, they are going to swoop down on Blackhawks and clap everybody. I've been saying this for 3 years. You do not go mainstream without the financial industry taking control. This is why I chose Ripple and why my investment is XRP guaranteed. Banks and governments do not lose ever. Well, so there you have it. And let's see what else we have here. Check this out. The $4.3 billion penalty imposed on Binance stands as the 7th highest financial fine ever recorded in history, with the record being Bank of America paying a whopping $30 billion fine, followed by JP Morgan Chase paying a $13 billion fine. And then it just goes on and on. BNB paid a $9 billion fine, Deutsche Bank $7 billion, Goldman Sachs $5 billion, Credit Suisse $5 billion, and then you got CZ and Binance paying a whopping $4.3 billion. Now, what do you think they're likely to do with this money? They're just going to go after more exchanges and usher in more unlawful regulation, in my humble opinion, but I'd love to know your thoughts in those comments. And Whalewire shared here, Binance CEO CZ goes bust. Binance CEO CZ has just shamefully resigned today, pleading guilty to fraud and money laundering violations. His company will also be forced to pay a whopping $4.3 billion. And for years, he claimed anyone who criticized him or his corrupt exchange are spreading FUD, but turns out it was truthful. And then they claim they have 480 plus tweets and articles mentioning the fraudulent practices of Binance. We were attacked left and right by the Maxi mob, but as usual, time proved us right again. So there you have it. My crypto fam, what's your thoughts on this breaking news surrounding CZ and Binance and their $4.3 billion fine? And how do you feel this will likely affect the crypto market? And do you think this is good news for BlackRock and their Bitcoin ETF, paving the way for the approval by the SEC? Let's continue with our next story of the day and discuss the SEC versus Kraken, and all around the same time. Coincidence? I think not, but here's the latest and what the community has to say regarding this lawsuit against Kraken. I didn't expect it because they just paid a $30 million fine to the SEC not too long ago, but check this out. The crypto space has been making its feelings known about a lawsuit filed by the US SEC against crypto exchange Kraken. Now, I like Kraken personally. They've been around a long time and they have like the lowest fees compared to all the other exchanges, and I think it is a superior exchange. So again, not surprised they're going after them. The lawsuit filed on November 20th is based on the SEC's allegations that Kraken has been operating as an unregistered exchange broker, dealer, and clearing agency, and claims it mixes customer assets with its own. Very serious allegations. Since the news broke, the community on social media and Kraken executives and prominent lawyers have been vocal in expressing their views on the SEC's actions. Kraken founder Jesse Powell called the action an assault on America and called the SEC the US's top decel. Powell even warned other companies to depart the country. Now, on November 21st, the current CEO of Kraken, Dave Ripley, took to X and said the company strongly disagrees with the SEC's claims and plans to vigorously defend its position. Quoting the new CEO here, "We strongly disagree with the SEC claims, stand firm in our view, and we do not list securities and plan to vigorously defend our position. Now, just FYI, one of the tokens they're alleging is a security. We're talking about the SEC, and Gary Gensler is Solana, and clearly Solana is listed on all the top exchanges in the world. Now, as an industry leader, we will stand up to these allegations and defend the crypto industry's right to exist in the U.S., is what he shared. He also said that the lack of regulatory clarity in the U.S. will only be resolved by the congressional action, adding the following: we will continue to support these efforts to bring clarity and certainty to the chaotic environment that has been created in the United States. And prominent crypto lawyer John Deaton also commented on the development, calling SEC Chair Gensler a despicable and dishonorable regulator. If you agree, let me know. Do you feel Gensler is despicable and dishonorable? Deaton also commented on Kraken's decision in February to pay $30 million to the SEC in a settlement deal. Quoting Deaton right here, Gary Gensler is a despicable and dishonorable regulator. He knew that Kraken believed it was buying peace for the $30 million. I know some people are critical of its choice to settle and pay the $30 million. I wanted them to fight as well, but when you decide to fight, $30 million only takes you so far. And Jesse Powell, the former CEO of Kraken, and I believe he's the initial founder or one of them, here's what he tweeted on the back of this news. The message is clear. $30 million buys you about 10 months before the SEC comes around to extort you again. The lawyers can do a lot with $30 million, but the SEC knows that a real fight will likely cost $100 million plus in valuable time. So if you can't afford it, get your crypto company out of the United States war zone. Very powerful words and very well said. Much respect to Jesse Powell. Now, Deaton says he believes Gensler does not care about any of the parties involved, employees or investors. He is a disgrace. I can't wait to see him go down. And when asked if Kraken stands a chance against the SEC in court for round 2, crypto criminal defense lawyer Carlo D'Angelo said he doesn't see the odds being in the SEC's favor. Quoting him here, similar arguments have been tried and failed in other circuit courts. The judge in the Kraken case will likely look closely at those decisions. Judges like consistent precedents, less chance of getting reversed on the appeal. Now, another user said, just because the SEC says something doesn't make it true. Get them to explain in detail to the court how to come on and register and operate normally. That's right, we're lacking the clarity. They've been asking and pressing Gensler and the SEC for this information for years, yet no information is shared. The SEC had received a lot of backlash for its harsh crackdown on crypto, particularly as the industry is operating in a legal system that has yet provided clear regulation for cryptocurrencies and exchanges working with digital assets. However, the crypto space also have allies on the regulatory side. U.S. Senator Cynthia Lummis posted a response to the lawsuit saying the SEC cannot continue to rule by enforcement. Quoting her here, the SEC cannot continue ruling by enforcement. My statement on the Kraken lawsuit below, and let me read this one out loud. I have mixed vibes on Lummis because she seemed to be tarnished of more recently coming out with some wild accusations of her own. But nonetheless, here's what she has to share on the topic. The SEC cannot continue ruling by enforcement. Crypto asset companies have repeatedly tried to get guidance from the SEC, only to be hit with enforcement actions, causing unnecessary harm to consumers. It is time for Congress to pass a regulatory framework to provide clear rules to the SEC on what is a security and what is a commodity. The Loomis-Gillibrand Responsible Financial Innovation Act will rein in the SEC and allow financial innovation to thrive in the United States. So there you have it. She said crypto companies have made repeated attempts to receive guidance, yet there's still no clarity from No Claire Gare. However, does this take you by surprise? Do let me know your thoughts, fam, in the comments right down below. But with that being shared, let's dive into our next story of the day. We still got lots more to cover for you. Let's discuss the latest six-figure Bitcoin price prediction from the one and only Strike CEO Jack Mallers, one of my favorite in the crypto space. Shout out to Jack Mallers. He's the bomb diggity. The CEO of the Lightning Network wallet Strike says that one catalyst can trigger a surge for Bitcoin that can swiftly see it hit the six-figure price tag. Now, how many of you are currently using Lightning Network applications such as Strike? Do let me know, and I do have my Strike address in the description below. Not actually my Strike address, but my Lightning address. If anyone ever wanted to tip me using the Lightning Network, you can do so. Just saying. In a new interview with Fox Business, Jack Mallers says he envisions Bitcoin eventually being worth hundreds of thousands of dollars per coin as the U.S. government continues to mount debt. Now, Now, I agree with him 100%. Here's what he shared in this new interview on Fox. Oh my gosh, this thing is going to hundreds of thousands of dollars per coin. The US government is in so much debt. The way I think about Bitcoin's price is it equals technology plus fiat liquidity. So it is going to go up because it's innovative tech and it is better money. Preach. But what really shoots up at a neck-breaking pace is when our government is tens of trillions of dollars in debt and has to roll out that debt. Over so, they get a lot of money to print and financial assets are going to soar. Bitcoin goes up the most because it's the hardest money to make more of. That's right. It's physically impossible to make more Bitcoin because we know there is a finite limited supply of 21 mil. Now, according to maulers, the government will continue to print money. I agree. They're going to continue to print till the wheels fall off to prop up the economy rather than opt for the hard asset, a move that will cause assets such as stocks and crypto and gold to soar. And I guess gold just recaptured a $2,000 price per ounce, the same spot it was at 3 years ago and 10 years ago. As we all know, precious metals are heavily manipulated markets. You know what I mean? Now, the government has a third option, he shares, which is unique to them. They can print the money that they are missing. And when they print that money that they are missing, they're stealing from the people that hold US dollars. That's right, 100%. The more they turn on those money printers, the more they're stealing from you. The only way to save yourself is to own not dollars. And that's when you see things like the S&P 500 and gold and Bitcoin soar. That's what's going to happen over the next 2 years. So there you have it. And to watch this interview, Strike CEO Jack Mallers did on Fox Business News entitled Strike CEO predicts Bitcoin to skyrocket at neck-breaking speeds to multiple six figures per Bitcoin. Check the show notes below the video in the description and let me know your thoughts. Let me know your perspective. And do you think Bitcoin will likely do that? Do you think they'll continue with that money printer? Let me know. We have our next story. We're going to be discussing this $150,000 Bitcoin price target from major asset manager Bernstein. And then I'm going to be sharing the latest from Max Keiser, who was just recently on InfoWars. It premiered yesterday. I transcribed some of his predictions, including him talking about next year, early 2024, 3 countries in Latin America will be adopting a Bitcoin as a legal tender following the blueprint of Nayib Bukele of El Salvador. Shout out to Michael W. I appreciate you subscribing to the show. Much love, much respect. So let's discuss this. The Bitcoin price will reach $150,000 per coin by 2025, thanks to the upcoming halving and spot ETF approval, wrote Bernstein in a new Monday report. The analyst for the $691 billion asset manager's crypto unit has modeled the asset's future price based on its marginal production costs for miners, which they argue acts as the price floor for every new cycle. So let's break down this report, shall we? In its report, Bernstein subscribed to the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory, which we know is fact. It's a 4-year cyclical cycle. The idea that Bitcoin price moves in 4-year patterns related to the issuance schedule. The schedule cuts the inflation rate of Bitcoin in half, roughly every 48 months. I think that is let me think here. Yep, that is correct. 48 months. Another of these halvings is estimated to occur in 5 months in April, reducing the issuance from 6.25 BTC to 3.125 BTC per block. Quoting the analyst here, in the year of the halving, as sell pressure reduces by half typically, new demand catalysts arise every cycle, which leads to a new price breakthrough, signaling the start of the new Bitcoin price cycle. In previous cycles, Bitcoin topped at prices that were many multitudes higher than its marginal production costs, such as 5.5x in 2017, 2.1x in 2021. And in mid-2025, the researchers expect Bitcoin to top out at 1.5x its marginal cost of production, which would be $150,000 per coin. And I just got to throw out there, my humble prediction says this is extremely conservative. I see a price range for a peak target for 2025 between 220,000 and 500,000 per coin. But nonetheless, to each their own. Just wanted to share my thoughts. Bitcoin's marginal cost of production is the cost of the least efficient miner to produce Bitcoin. The cost rises with every Bitcoin cycle as increasing miner competitiveness, and Bitcoin bear market washes out the high cost, inefficient miners. Also, another thing to point out, Bitcoin tends to add a zero after every 4-year cyclical cycle. And if you add a zero from today's price, we're talking about roughly $360,000 per coin. And if you add a zero from the all-time high back in November of 2021, we're talking about 690,000 for the king. Now check it. We notice a pattern of Bitcoin as a multiple of marginal costs tapering with every cycle. The report stated, this is partly due to the laws of large numbers, meaning returns on Bitcoin will decline as it becomes a larger asset. And shout out to Zero. I appreciate the super chat each and every day without fail. You are the man. Now the impact of the ETFs, which we can't ignore. While supply side selling crunches, Bernstein expects demand for Bitcoin to soar after a likely US spot Bitcoin ETF approval early January, with that deadline being January 10th. So mark that in your calendar. By 2028, which is the following halving after 2024, the analysts predict that over 9% of the spot Bitcoin in circulation will be held within ETFs. Like, whoa, and that demand for ETFs after the halving will outstrip the miner supply by 6 to 7 times. At peak, as shared here, Bitcoin ETFs will mean new flows to Bitcoin and integration with traditional on-ramps like broker accounts, wealth advisors, he added. Now, some analysts have predicted that both the halving and the ETF approval could potentially hurt the Bitcoin mining companies. While the first means less Bitcoin is generated for the miners, the second could mean that institutional investing in miners as a proxy for Bitcoin will sell their shares to buy the real thing. Quoting him here regarding this concern, most views on miners are wrong because no one assumes a new Bitcoin price cycle, he explained, which would boost the miner revenues in US dollar denominated terms. Makes a good point here. We have high conviction that we get a new cycle touching 150,000 per coin, led by the miner supply cost curves, as we highlight. So there you have it. My crypto fam, what are your thoughts surrounding these predictions of 150,000 in 2025 as the cycle peak? Let me know. And do you feel, such as myself, that this target is a little conservative? Please do let me know your honest thoughts. I appreciate that. You're the best YouTuber I've ever seen. I'm humbled. Thank you, fam. Means the world to me. Appreciate you tuning in, and much respect. And with that being shared, now let's break down our breaking story of the day. The high priest of Bitcoin, Max Keiser, just premiered a new episode on InfoWars, one of my favorite shows. Shout out to Alex Jones. And he made some very bold predictions, and I want to share these predictions with you here today, along with the greatest price predictions from Max Keiser that I have shared and transcribed here. Now, if you haven't watched this, be sure to check it out. It's blowing up. Let me do a refresh. You can see how many likes and views and retweets this has gotten since I posted it late last night. And holy moly, don't know why it just refreshed with Cynthia Lummis, but what are you doing? Here we go. Back to it right here. This is the interview. I posted the whole one in full. I even removed the commercials for you. There's 48,000 views already, 400 likes, 134 retweets. This thing will probably get over 100,000 views before the end of the day. But I posted new Max Keiser on InfoWars with Gerald Celente, 3 nations in Latin America to make Bitcoin legal tender in early 2024. Now for some of the highlights from this brand new interview. I know I posted them here. He does say, my calculations are for every dollar moved into gold, you're going to see a $20 to $30 move into Bitcoin. That's because the host asked him, you know what I mean? He says, I'm bullish on gold and Bitcoin. And Max said, well, here's ultimately the reason I am more bullish on Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is going to move up $20 to $30 for every move that gold makes up of just $1. And I think Max makes a great point and a great argument there, because gold is clearly manipulated with the rest of the precious metal markets, hence why it never gets so far past $2,000 and it's been stuck at this price point for the past decade. He also says the template that was established in El Salvador was replicated to a large degree by Javier Milei in Argentina, and he won the election. Now other countries in the region, certainly in Central America, are going to start mimicking this. We see it also in Europe and Asia and all around the world, including in Africa, fam. Politicians are figuring out that Bitcoin is an election winner, so they are going to gravitate towards having a Bitcoin-centric policy. Preach. This is great because Bitcoin is on track to become the world's reserve currency, displacing the dollar, so the world will run on a Bitcoin standard, which means there is hope, because a world on a Bitcoin standard is fantastic. One of the attributes of Bitcoin is it monetizes peace and demonetizes war because it is unconfiscatable. And he makes a great point. I also think here with the United States government, this is also going to be a big election factor, as well as many of the candidates are pro pro-Bitcoin, anti-CBDC. And I think that's what the people are demanding, and we should give the people what they want. But what's your thoughts, crypto fam? Here's some more predictions coming from Max's own tweet. I am hearing 3 more countries in the region are going to make Bitcoin legal tender early 2024. So let me know, which countries do you think are likely to make Bitcoin legal tender? Here are my guesses. I'm going to go with Argentina, clearly, now that they have a pro-presidential, a pro-president. And then I'm also going to go with Mexico, because I know Samson Mao has been making big moves out there, talking with their governments and politicians. We also have Ricardo Salinas, which is the 3rd richest man in Mexico. He has most of his portfolio in Bitcoin. And for a 3rd country, I'm going to guess, as far as a Latin American nation, I want you guys to guess. Let me know which nation you feel will likely adopt Bitcoin as the legal tender next in the comments right down below. Now for some more predictions from the one and only high priest of Bitcoin, Max Keiser. He says Bitcoin will eat into global finance until it's $1 million per coin. Send it and let's freaking go. Some more Max predictions. He says Bitcoin will beat gold by 100x. The altcoins will get shut down and go to zero. El Salvador will be debt-free by 2030, and this growth will be powered by the rise of Bitcoin to $1 million per coin. It is a mathematical certainty. He also says by 2030, the market cap of Volcano Energy and the GDP of El Salvador will both reach $50 billion as we expand geothermal mining, and the price of Bitcoin skyrockets to $1 million per coin. Again, it's a mathematical certainty. You know what I mean? Bitcoin is designed to be attacked. So when the EU says we need to attack the price of Bitcoin, that's music to Bitcoiner ears, because all attacks mean greater hash rate, greater security, and higher prices. Thank you, MJ Matrix. I appreciate that super chat. Bariqua, you got that right. It's designed to be attacked, Max says. The more you attack it, the higher the price goes. So we welcome these EU attacks, and the IMF and Christine Lagarde and the central banks and the Federal Reserve Bank, please attack me so that the price can go to $100,000, $200,000, $1 million per coin. Thank you. But wait, there's more. All fiat money and gold eventually goes to effectively zero against Bitcoin because it's demonetizing gold. The same way gold demonetized silver, Bitcoin will be demonetizing gold. So sure, we'll make it, gold will make it to maybe 2, 3, 4,000 an ounce, but we're talking about Bitcoin eventually going to $5 million to $10 million per coin. So your purchasing power in gold terms is almost basically nothing compared to what's happening in Bitcoin. Preach. But wait. There is more. With Bitcoin, it's kind of the end of price discovery because everything will be priced in Bitcoin eventually. Everything goes to zero against Bitcoin. Preach. And for someone like myself who has been following this for 40 years, finance markets, technology, Bitcoin is the holy grail. It is the end all. I would say my compatriot in all of this is the one and only Michael Saylor. When you hear Saylor talk, he talks about the aesthetics of Bitcoin, the beauty of Bitcoin, and he speaks about it in a way I think carries the torch from the Max and Stacy from 2011. He started buying it, I guess, when it was 10 to 20,000 or so in 2020, meaning Saylor came late to the party, but his company holds over 158,000 BTC. So we were there from 2011 to 2010. I think he kind of carried the torch from 2020 in a lot of ways, introducing Bitcoin to massive pools of capital. I am surprised that more companies haven't followed his lead. That's right, because MicroStrategy was the first publicly traded company to put the Bitcoin on the balance sheet, giving the upbreak in inflation we have had exactly as Saylor predicted, the melting ice cube as he called it, at exactly the time of what happened. Well, I guess we can say now we're in an era where BlackRock and these other major institutions are now looking at Bitcoin. So his work on the institutional level, I guess, is bearing fruit. Now, 3 years later, I see in the Middle East, they're starting to recognize Bitcoin. So that's a huge pool of capital. I think all of the oil money will find its way into Bitcoin and be a huge catalyst for higher prices. And that's right, we're hearing rumors of a major exchange called the M2, according to Kevin O'Leary, coming out of Abu Dhabi. I've heard rumors of an ETF coming out of Dubai. So the Middle East got a lot of money. It's a natural way for the oil industry to diversify their portfolio because Bitcoin is essentially energy, and the energy eventually gets priced in Bitcoin. And there is a marriage between these two in a big way. So I think that's kind of the answer. I've always been fascinated by price discovery and markets and architecture of how markets work under the hood. And Bitcoin is such a pristine, perfect money. I think it is something humans have been searching for since forever. And now we're seeing it change society on a really fundamental level with the introduction of Bitcoin. Preach. A lot of people are freaking out because of it, because it destroys the status quo. And a lot of people have been waiting for it to come along and had the faith that humanity can be saved. They see Bitcoin in those terms. So you have this split going on, which is very exciting. So it just continues on and on. And how can you not be interested in Bitcoin? I think the people who were in it early and walked away just never got it from the beginning. Once it's categorized as an asset class, which we all know is coming with this ETF, right? We have nothing to do except position ourselves in this asset class. Either we are going to have a small position or a big position, but we cannot ignore it. We cannot not have a position. Now listen up, check this out. So even 1% of that multi-$100 trillion funds available moves the needle on Bitcoin, and it moves it up considerably. So if we get into the 5 to 10% range, then you start to really see it raise ahead to the 7-figure type predictions that people have been making, including myself, because it is an asset class. And on the flip side, what we have saw in the gold market, which is the ability to control price discovery and manipulate the prices, is real through the derivatives market. So the price of gold has been lagging inflation for 20 years because the governments around the world don't like gold making their fiat money look bad. Exactly. So they make it easy for the huge funds to manipulate the price of gold and to scalp and to continuously skim the profits off of gold, which is what they do almost every day. You can watch it and see it, and it's pretty clear. They are very good at keeping the price of gold and silver down. There's something like for every ounce of silver, there's probably 50 ounces worth of derivatives floating in various exchanges around the world that are used to keep the price of silver down because governments don't want gold to race ahead and draw capital out of their fiat money scam and into gold. And with Bitcoin, we have the ability to pull our private keys, which is not really available with gold. Technically, people can take delivery of gold on these exchanges, but there has never been an organized attempt to do so. So there you have it. Then he goes on to talk about crashing JP Morgan with his buy gold and silver campaign, but we all know that they just manipulate the markets, they get a slap on the wrist, they pay the fine, and the game continues to be played.